Welcome back, my fellow degenerates. The best time of the year is upon us once again, and it would be a true week one of the NFL without some massive surprises around the league. In this week's episode, Dan is going to hit us with his top 10 unexpected outcomes from week one, and we'll gauge our thoughts on them. We'll also go over our picks from week one, full of some hits, mainly by me. That's okay. Sorry, Dan. And we both had some misses among the chaos in the league as well, though. So then we'll give you guys a look into our minds as we go over our week two player predictions and locks. Hope you DGens enjoy the video. And as always, good luck in all of your fantasy endeavors, unless you're in one of our leagues, because then luck ain't going to save you. Peace.
In audio.
3, 2, 1, action. Welcome back to the DGen Fantasy Football Podcast. We had a great weekend. I'm with Dylan Rains. I'm Dan Schmader. We are going to talk about week one. A lot of bad things happened.
Yep.
I'm sure a lot of people are feeling pain right now. We're going to review our player picks last week because we're all about transparency. And then we'll go over some week one surprises. Should we overreact? Should we not? And then we'll go over some of week two studs, flex options, and desperation plays. So let's get right into it, right? So Dylan, Monday morning, I think I put this list together. Maybe it was Tuesday.
Yep.
I looked through the box score, watched a ton of football, primarily on Red Zone, though.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to see everything, so we're going to need a little bit of feedback here. But these are the top 10 surprising things around the league week one.
All right, let's go. I didn't look at them at all, so.
You didn't look at them? Okay, so number one, AR-15 and Jaden Daniels. Yes, they are fantasy stars, but no, this will not help their wide receivers.
Yep.
Not saying their receivers are toast, because who knows? But I'm not super thrilled.
Yeah, they might be.
Would you say both of those? So it's really a two-part. AR and Jaden are fantasy darlings, but it will not help Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin, A.D. Mitchell, maybe every once in a while, but and whoever else the fucking Commanders have on their team.
Yeah, I think I'd be a little bit more worried if I had Washington wide receivers than the Colts wide receivers. I think
because Alec Pierce games will get like kind of passed around a little bit.
Yeah, that always happens. Also, I think the Colts ran the fewest offensive plays in the league last week as well. So, I mean, I know AR only had 9 completions, but
Yep.
I don't think that's going to be normal. I don't think that's normal at all. So,
okay. But are you fading Terry McLaurin? Would you start him in your flex?
I would sit Terry.
Okay. And no one's already starting AD, so we're good there. Yeah. Pittman, you kind of got to keep him in your wide receiver too.
Yeah.
And hope that they game plan some shorter shit. But I would say in like a best ball league, A.D. Mitchell, Alec Pierce, even what's his name, who is trending on Sleeper. Doesn't matter. Those guys I feel like I would still be happy to have because I do think A.D. Mitchell missed like 3 deep balls by mere inches.
Yeah.
It could have been a crazy welcome to the league moment. Number 2, Tank Bigsby had the same amount of carries as ETN, but did more with it.
Yeah.
Are you reacting to that at all? Is ETN good? He's highly drafted.
I think ETN's fine, but I think it does indicate a little bit more of a committee share there. I mean, all offseason, they kept saying like little hints that they wanted Bigsby to come in, give ETN some breathers. So I think ETN's not the workhorse that he was last year.
I would agree with that. This team has been wanting to do that for 2 years. Last year, Tank sucked balls.
Yeah.
So they just couldn't. This year, Tank still might suck balls, but just had a good game. But the team also, like, ETN last year, first 8 games of the season, dominated.
Yeah.
And then he fell off. So I think the team knows, like, okay, Trevor's getting older, we're more playoff contending, and let's try to save our guy a little bit.
Yeah.
So ETN will probably still finish as a top 15 back.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe a little bit harder now.
Yeah.
But he also will be healthy the whole year.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows? All right, this next one is the same exact situation. Rashad White, and Bucky. Watch out. It might be hard to keep Bucky off the field. And we
Yeah.
already kind of talked about this, but please tell me your perspective.
I don't know. This one I keep flip flopping on. I'm like, oh, Rashad's fine. He's still just going to get, especially PPR formats, right? He had 6 targets, 6 catches. I don't think that really goes away, but Bucky was a good pass catcher in college. I mean, he did break a couple big runs there towards the end of the game. I think he had double the yards Rashad did on less carries. So maybe like, I don't know, it's just a little change of pace play. So maybe he's more similar to Pollard was a few years ago behind Zeke a little bit. But
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to impact Rashad too much unless Bucky really starts taking the passing downs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Bucky might see the field more, but Rashad is just such a special player in the passing game.
Yeah,
It's like you got to keep him in on all 3 downs, and their line is getting a little better. But I used to think maybe the Bucks line was just bad, and it's not Rashad, and now it's like we have 2 backs that are running behind the same line, and some people are really producing. But number 4, Raheem Mostert. Achane got a lot of goal line carries. He was all over the field. Achane didn't rush that well when he got carries. It was mainly out of the passing game. Now Mostert's injured. What are we thinking about Raheem?
Well, Mostert got ruled out for this Thursday's game. They're playing the Bills, so he's already ruled out for that game. Achane also has a little ankle injury. No ruling on him yet, so I don't know. It was a rough week 1 for Mostert. I think we saw it's kind of similar to the Ravens this year. Their O-line took a huge step back and losing some key starters. So last year, I think the Dolphins were top 5 run O-line. That's not the case anymore, and Mostert's the one who's going to suffer the most from that. So I wouldn't panic fully yet, but I mean, obviously you can't play him this week with the injury, so I don't know.
Man, what a difference like 10 days makes. I thought he was such a steal late in the draft.
I know.
And you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
This opens a doorway up for a couple guys, Jalen Wright, Jeff Wilson. So certainly not a good thing.
Yeah.
You do never know. Raheem has shocked the world before. Number 5, sorry. Derek Carr and Kamara, LOL. As much as I would love for the clock to rewind 5 years, could it actually happen? Kamara should be really, really solid still, but what about Derek Carr? And this is more for like your super flex leagues, deeper leagues. Was that a total bullshit of a game?
Yeah, I think you can't take too much from that game, right? Obviously, like Carr can still throw the ball, but I think the Panthers might just be the worst team in the league once again. So you got to kind of cool it a little bit. But Kamara looked fine for like.
Yeah, he did.
So
my only takeaway was that the Saints offense has changed.
Yeah.
They ran pre-snap motion. There's a lot more creativity. And it's not Dennis Allen. He's still there. They brought in a new OC that I think, that might be a little bit. In that same vein, though, Chris Olave. I know you have some shares.
Yeah.
Are you like, I mean, it's never great to see a team blow another team out without the star receiver not participating.
Yeah.
Not good.
I don't know. It's just the game went down such a weird path, right? I mean, we had Foster Moreau and Juwan Johnson both getting touchdowns in the game.
Yeah.
So
absolute booty cheek.
I don't know. Like, I'm not panicking. It's just interesting to see. I don't know what the splits are going to look like going forward. Rashid Shaheed had kind of a decent game as well, getting some long balls. So I wouldn't be surprised if Olave takes a little bit of a step back, but I don't know. I can't take too much from this game, basically. It's the Panthers, man.
You got to move on. You got to move on. And if Olave takes a step back as a round 2 pick, that's going to sting a lot of people. Because he was already kind of like wide receiver 17 last season. And now if he like falls out of the top 20, that's rough because he's probably a lot of people's second or first wide receiver 1 on their team.
Yeah.
Titans running back room. Pollard is the one, and he was brought in to be the one. They like Spears. Spears will get touches, but Pollard is RB1 there.
Yeah. He looked great.
He did. He did look good. So you're in agreement with that, I imagine.
Yeah, I think it was just like the Spears timeline, all hype came from like the end of the year last year and then the whole offseason before they traded for Pollard. But I mean, they gave him 8 mil a year for 3 years. So he,
Yep.
he's the
Good RV
guy.
money these days.
Yep.
Sam Darnold? Exclamation point. His final stat lines weren't that great, but like mid game, he was absolutely killing it. And he was at one point he was like 9 for 10.
I think he
AOC
he
is a
started
really
like
good coach.
14 for 14 or something like that. It was,
Yeah, he was crushing it.
yeah.
He was getting a lot of people involved. I think this is a good sign of things to come. I think KOC is a perfect coach for someone like Darnold. And Vikings players are entirely in play, or at least Aaron Jones and JJ. I'd feel completely confident in.
Yeah, I think Darnold's going to have a little bit of a ramp up period over the year before they kind of like get him really
Yeah.
going. So it was great to see week one, though. So
This one stings both of us. Marvin Harrison,
Oh.
another second round pick. Dude.
yeah, this one really hurt.
Dude. This one is not good.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows he had 3 targets, 1 yard, 1 catch for 4 yards. He was on the field for almost every play. He lined up exclusively as the X, the wideout. So, I mean, Kyler it didn't really work in his favor, I guess, this week. I mean, rookies is always slow. All these stats are coming out about like Marvin's on field speed being one of the slowest of all time. It was, I saw something that was like out of 1,700 recorded on field speed calculations, he was 1699, something like that. So I don't know, maybe he was like frustrated, kind of giving up on things early. Doesn't really seem like Marvin going off his like preseason interviews and stuff like that, but I don't know. I think he's just going to take longer than we expected. But
Yeah, damn. I didn't even know about that last part. I
Yeah.
thought we were coping right now. And
Yeah.
I was gonna say that the Cardinals just weren't throwing the ball down the field. I did hear he had some suspect effort, but that really does not sound like Marvin. He's like a pro's pro already,
Yeah.
but fuck.
Yeah, like that clip from Hard Knocks with Dayball talking to him about like not getting the ball. He was like, "Yeah, dude, like that's fine. Like I just got to make every play I can get, like kind of thing." So, but
Yeah, a little bit harder to put into practice, I guess, for a 21-year-old, but
yeah,
I don't know, dude. That's gonna fuck so many people, including me.
Yeah.
So well, let's pray. Let's pray that this week is better. They have a better matchup. 9, Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely. People have talked the shit out of this one already. What do you think?
I think it's more of a split on that team. I think they're going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets. I mean, they did this past week, right? It wasn't just Likely on the field. I think also if you look at Likely's targets, the majority of them outside of that long touchdown and a handful of others were all very close to the line of scrimmage. So, I mean, Lamar was running all around and then just somehow getting some dump offs to Likely. That was kind of like their only thing that was working. So, I don't think Mark Andrews is cooked by any means, but I would be a little bit cautious with him.
Would you start Mark Andrews over Isaiah Likely this week?
Oh, I might. Yeah, I'd say fuck it. We're starting Mark Andrews. That's how it always works.
I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to trust that the Chiefs blanket him every year. They bracket cover him.
Yeah.
They shut him down last year. Blah, 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 blah. And Likely was being used like Evan Ingram, which if they can do that all season, that's fantastic. But I'm willing to give Andrews another shot.
Yeah, I don't think there's no way their offense looks the same way it did week 1 as for the rest of the season. So,
all right, last one here. Blake Corum got no touches, no offensive snaps.
Yeah.
But could this be a change after a week 1 of inefficiency for Kyren Williams?
I don't think it's going to change. I think we're going to take a long time to see Corum out there. I think it was just kind of the offseason rookie hype. People expecting Kyron to get injured. That being said, if Kyron does get injured, I expect Corum to step up, but I don't think he's necessarily like a 1-2 punch like some people thought.
Will Ronnie Rivers start over Corum in a Kyron injury?
I mean, that's what it looks like right now, right? So,
Dude, Sean McVay is such a fucker, honestly.
yeah.
Was the top 10 most surprising things that happened in week 1. Dylan, what do you think? Did I miss anything? J.K. Dobbins was a fucking surprise.
Yeah, Dobbins was. I think he's kind of electric moving forward. I mean, he's owned in most leagues, but I think he's probably
Yeah.
one of the top waiver pickups this week. So yeah, Dobbins is a good one to
great.
throw in there at the end.
Yeah, Jordan Mason too.
Yeah.
Although not surprising to some.
Yeah.
Some have known of the Mason power for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for week 2. Honestly, of those guys that we talked about, I'm starting Marvin again.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to start him over Brian Thomas Jr. and Jaden Reed. I'll give him one more week.
Yeah.
But let's get into our last week player reviews.
Yeah. We had some good ones, some not so good ones, but that's okay.
Yep.
So,
I mean, we'll count up our hit rate for a second. So let's start with QBs.
yeah.
Dylan, who was your stud QB pick last week?
Oh God, this was my worst pick of the week. I went Joe Burrow versus the Pats. My lock pick for the week was Joey B. We all saw how that went.
The Pats, dude. Oh my God. I was with you on that too.
Yeah. My brother literally just texted me that somebody in his league dropped Joe Burrow, and he's like, I don't know if I should pick him up. So,
That's how you know it's bad, is if someone drops him and then people are not racing to pick him up.
yeah. So I mean, we saw those clips with his hand, so something might be a little bunk there. And then I had Derek Carr as well as like a 2 QB league play, who
Nailed it.
balled out. So that one was nailed.
Yeah.
Who'd you have again?
Fucking nailed it. I was opposite of you. My stud was AR-15.
That's perfect.
Lit it the fuck up. And then my desperation QB was Will Levis.
Ugh. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, who I guess I didn't see play much this past weekend, but apparently he really sucked. But we move on. I'm starting Carr in a super flex league this week.
Yeah.
Out of necessity. I think you got to roll Burrow if you got him.
Yeah.
If he's healthy.
Yeah, you can't sit Burrow. So.
And then Levis has to be sit. He can't play.
Yeah,
he can't play even a super flex. All right, RBs. What do you got?
Last week I had Kenny Walker and David Montgomery, both as they blew the projections out of the water. So,
oh yeah, good picks. Your Monty, people were sleeping on Monty in redraft.
Yeah,
my stud was James Cook, and he was underrated big time.
Yeah,
or
underwhelming.
Not hit his projection. Underwhelming, I should say. And then my flex plays all nailed except for House Bus. It was Jerome Ford, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus Edwards.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a mishmash you had there. So, I mean, the Gus Bus, J.K. Dobbins was always like one of them was going to be the guy. We just didn't really know who. And now we kind of know it looks like Dobbins. So, and then Ford had an all right game. He really got salvaged at the end there, getting that garbage time TD though. So
he did. He was not looking that great there for a while.
Yeah.
But the Browns are. I don't feel great about like starting players on terrible offenses. So
yeah.
We'll see how we're going forward.
Yeah. Deshaun looks so cooked. So it's hard to know.
Yeah, he did. All right. Wide receivers. Oof. Oh my God.
Yeah, all right. So I had Mike Evans as my first one, absolute lock right there. So
yeah,
there's nothing else to say other than he's still Mike Evans. And then my second pick was Jordan Addison. So he got hurt partway through the game and came out with an ankle injury. So he did have 4 targets, 3 catches for 35 yards while he was in there. So I mean, not pretty obviously good. Not great, but not terrible for the limited time played. So
when did he get hurt in the game?
It was pretty early on. So
yeah. Okay. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Mine both absolutely fucking missed.
Yeah.
My stud was Chris Olave, which
Oh,
I mean, we
yeah.
kind of covered in the surprising things this week, and
Yeah.
I just didn't see that coming. I don't know what to say. I got to imagine he's fine
Yeah.
going forward. And then my flex option was DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. He's definitely still
Who did-
injured. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
Will Levis, you just can't trust him yet. I'm not saying Will Levis can't pull it out of his booty hole, but for the most part, I don't want anything to do with Titans receiver group until then.
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
play forward though.
And then for tight ends, I completely whiffed on tight ends. Fucking, I had Kincaid, and then my desperation play was Noah Fant. So both
Yeah.
just abysmal.
Yeah, Kincaid's concerning.
Yeah, I'd be a little
I
worried.
wasn't that surprised by it, so I didn't put it on that list, but
Yeah,
man, you got to kind of start him again this week
Yeah.
too. My tight end stud was Trey McBride, and he did not hit projection. However, I'm very pleased with his usage, so
yeah,
I'm starting him again this week with confidence. Not worried about it. I think Kyler kind of came out hot, and the offense slowed down, either to protect the lead, and they kind of took themselves out of it, which was surprising because the Cardinals did look pretty good in the
Yeah.
first half. You know, like Kyler looked good, and then they just lost their way.
yeah. I
The
think
team's not used to winning.
I think it'd be a good time to try and maybe target Trey McBride. Obviously, like you said, his numbers weren't great, but he still had great usage in terms of targets.
Yep.
He was out there on almost every play. He ran almost the most routes ran on the team behind Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think if someone might be like, oh shit, maybe McBride's not the guy, maybe you can steal him away.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good trade target because I think he's totally fine.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear that Marv ran a lot of routes, getting
Yeah.
a lot of exercise out there.
Yeah.
And then my desperation tight end was Dallas Goedert. He got like 7 or 8 points. Hey,
Yeah.
it's a desperation tight end.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say that's a hit, but I'm not going to say he got you 2 points like Kincaid.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
was like a vintage Goddard game right there.
It was like 4 for 35.
Yeah.
But be happy with your 7.5. Like the top 5 tight ends all blew this week. So
Yeah.
hey, what's the difference?
And then I had a couple dart throws at the end, if you remember, that actually did work out pretty well. I don't think anyone probably had the balls to start them, but Brandon Cooks and Jerry Jeudy both scored touchdowns and had a decent amount of targets and catches. So
I'm excited for Judy if Jameis Winston plays.
yeah, dude, give me
Like that?
Jameson over there.
That's trouble, dude. If Judy and Jameis hook up, oh
Yeah.
boy. And then I did like the Brandon Cooks pick too.
Yeah,
Someone's got to catch passes there. That I will say the Cowboys kind of, they went off of Dak and CD early, and we'll see when it's a more competitive match.
yeah. I think
Let's
Cooks
go ahead
too
and-
going forward, like with Fergie potentially missing some time with his MCL sprain. So I think Cooks might still be there to get some more yardage. So
I'm excited. Cooks is a player, dude. He might be a bit older, but
yeah,
he's had a lot of 1,000-yard seasons in his career. All right, looking ahead to week 2, we're doing the same thing.
yeah,
QB stud, QB desperation.
yeah,
RB stud, RB flex, wide receiver stud and flex, and then tight end stud and desperation. I'll kick us off. I'm gonna go safe play here, maybe. Lamar Jackson against the Los Angeles Raiders.
I like it. I think, yeah. I don't think there's too much to say about Lamar. Like his rushing upside last week, insane. Over 100 yards. That's all you need from him, and it doesn't matter how he throws the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't care where their passing game is. Lamar looked awesome last week.
Yeah.
You know, did the Ravens look a little rusty? Absolutely. Penalties, yes. But Lamar can take over a game like no one else. He is going to have some down games, though. And the Raiders' defense is not terrible, but I just trust his rushing upside.
Yeah.
My QB desperation pick is Sam Darnold against his old team, the Niners.
The redemption game. That could be a tough one, but we'll see. I mean, it is desperation
Don't
play,
take.
right? So
It's a desperation play. And I mean, are someone likely to play Sam Darnold over like all the other quarterbacks in the free agency?
Yeah.
No. But the Niners do have some injuries. He looked like he was pretty sharp, and I'm a believer in KOC.
Yeah. I can see myself in a 2 QB league potentially rolling Darnold out there. But I also could see this being like the worst performance of the week right here. So,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
All right, who you got for quarterbacks?
All right. So my picks very similar to yours actually. So I went Jaden Daniels is my lock for the
Yep.
week. I mean his game was very similar to Lamar's this past week, not in how they look, but in terms of rushing. He had 88 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. He's playing the Giants this week. And they just got eviscerated and made Baker Mayfield look like the best quarterback in the league. So I think he's like a no-brainer start.
Yeah, absolutely. God, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. And then my desperation play, oh, dude, I didn't know what to do. I think I went with Geno Smith here. And he's
I
playing
like it.
he's playing the Patriots. Uh, so I think the Patriots had a little bit of like a fraud week.
Okay, because you're going right back against your old faithful, like
I
whoever's playing the Pats.
Yeah. So I think I don't know. I think the Bengals always just historically start so goddamn slow. And the Patriots are like the perfect team to take advantage of that. So I don't think that happens again. I think Geno gets some decent passing volume this week, especially because their run game is so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Running backs. I got stud James Conner versus the Rams. I think overall, fantasy stars on both teams are going to absolutely dominate. I think James Conner was the one bright spot of their team last week, and his volume is wild. And the Rams, they have a pretty favorable matchup.
Yep.
The flex option, though, I'm even more excited about. It's Najee Harris versus the Broncos. My only hesitation with Najee is like he almost got 20 carries. I just like don't trust Artie Smith to not do some bonehead shit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, James Conner looked great. They leaned on him heavy, a lot of goal line usage. So I think he's like a must start, RB1 upside. So, and then Najee was actually my choice as my flex as well. I think just versus that Broncos team, you just want a Steelers running back. And one more thing on him is it looks like Fields potentially might be starting again this week.
Yep.
I
think he is.
So it is going to be a big ground and pound game, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if the score was similar to that Steelers-Falcons game where they can't necessarily punch it into the end zone, but they're just grinding. So,
yep. Give me Najee all day for a grinder.
Yeah.
Give him 30 carries and see what happens.
He's perfect. And then speaking of 30 carries, that's my RB pick for the week is Joe Mixon. He had 30 carries.
I like it.
30 carries last week, most in the league. And this week he's playing the Bears.
Go Bears.
So Texans heavily favored, obviously. The Bears looked abysmal. Caleb less than 100 passing yards. Their only TDs really came from, they only came from special teams and defense. So I think this game's going to get really out of hand and Mixon's just going to get a lot of volume. So
yeah, Mixon looked fantastic. That's a great play.
Yeah.
Who was your RB flex?
It was Najee. So I did Najee, I was like, he's just too perfect of a play this week. So
yeah, and by flex, like you'd be lucky to have him as your flex option. But
yeah,
actually, some teams I think go like hero RB. They might have a third RB in Najee, but
yeah,
I think he's gonna have a great week. My wide receiver stud this week. This was easy for me. It's Cooper Kupp against the Cardinals. Same Rams Cardinals matchup. No Puka.
Yep.
But that wouldn't matter anyways, in my opinion. Cooper Kupp just gets absolutely fed. It's beautiful to watch. It's strategic. It's absolutely surgical the way that Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp go down the field together. And the only thing that's a little hesitation, but not really, because I think Cooper would get enough even in one half for you to be pleased, is if they come up too early and they kind of just run the piss out of the ball.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Raiders are going to hang in there, and it's going to be a pretty high-scoring affair.
I thought they were Aren't they playing the Cardinals?
Yeah, Cardinals and Rams.
Oh, Rams. Yeah. Sorry, you just said
Yeah.
Raiders. All good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooper Cup's playing the Cards.
Yeah. I mean, I love Cup. I think he's a top 5 receiver this week and going forward with Puka's absence. I don't think you can move
The whole season.
Yeah. So I'd be really
Yeah.
worried if I owned Puka. Really worried. So I think if he has these 4 weeks with just Cooper Cup, that's just going to be Stafford's guy all over again. So, but who knows once Puka gets reintegrated. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But you can't project injuries, but so
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like, oh, Cooper could get hurt.
yeah.
But I
But
would definitely say it's trouble with having just Stafford with his old baby boy back.
yeah, outside of like Tyreek and CD, I kind of take Cup over almost anyone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great steal from the draft.
Yeah.
That a lot of people started sniffing out like right around the right time. So good for you guys and for reaching on him to get him. My flex option this week is Keon Coleman versus the Dolphins. He had an okay game against the Cards. He did okay. It was like 4 for 50, something like that.
Yep.
That whole game was weird. The Bills' offense is always strange. Like they can put up 35 points, but they don't get a lot of their skill players involved. It's odd.
Yeah.
I think this matchup's going to be pretty solid. Dolphins can score points. Hopefully, we see a lot more passing volume. But the only hesitation is Josh Allen is Lamar, where he can, and he's Jaden Daniels, where he can have 30 points.
Yeah.
The offense can score a bunch of touchdowns. And then you look at all the players on the team, and it's like, damn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a great week 1. I mean, he led the team in targets as a rookie. That's great. I mean, a lot of people said Keon Coleman might be a project wide receiver, take some time to adjust. And if you watch the game, you kind of saw that they like clicked in one moment where like he threw a little short pass, like purposely underthrown, and Keon went up and got it. And they just kept going back to that. So
Yeah.
I think that's just perfect for Keon. Once they figure out like how to use him, it's just going to be perfect with Josh and him. So I love him.
Only getting better from here.
Yeah. All right. My wide receiver pick for the week, my first lock is Debo. I think Debo's no brainer, especially if CMC is out again. He got 7, I think, rushing touches. And they're playing the Vikings. I think Debo is just electric. He could be top 5 wide receiver this week again. He just has so much upside and so much involvement in that offense. Yeah. And then my flex this week is actually it's going to be Ladd McConkey.
Nice. Dude, I'm down for that. He looked good.
Yeah. And we're sticking to the narrative of here is, the Chargers are playing.
Don't tell me. This is the worst defense in the league?
Yeah.
It is Chargers. Not the Broncos. Who are they playing?
Panthers.
Oh, okay. Should have known, dude.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm down. Fuck it.
Yeah.
The Chargers are going to surprise some people this year.
Yeah. So I think Ladd, you can start him in your flex this week probably. He had a lot of targets last week.
Yep.
So
he's a good, strong player, man. I'm not, he's got a bright future, and that offense is wide open.
Yeah.
And they're going to be in games. So that's awesome. Tight end stud. I'm running it back, going Trey McBride.
Yeah.
We already covered it. His usage was great. That game, I kind of got out of hand. They were doing one thing, and then they got the lead and took their foot off the gas. I'm going back to Trey.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have he's going to hit his projection and more.
Yeah.
He's going to score a touchdown this
I
week.
think that's a very safe pick. This week I'm going with a rookie. We're going with Brock Bowers versus the Ravens.
I like it.
Bit of a homer pick given my draft capital in him in dynasty leagues, but I mean, he led the team in targets last week. He had 8 targets, 6 catches. I think he finished as a top 3 tight end without scoring a touchdown. So despite all these elite tight ends who have faltered, Brock really came up there. So I think it's really good to see him getting involvement. And I think I know Minshew targeted the ever-living fuck out of Michael Pittman last year, but maybe Brock Bowers could be that guy this year on the underneath routes. Because I mean, if you remember, Pittman's a short yardage kind of guy, and that's not Devontae Adams. I mean, Devontae can run those routes, but he's just much bigger outside receiver. So Bowers could be his guy this year. So
Yeah, I liked what Bowers did. He looked good, and I agree with the Minshew targets, and Bowers can also catch passes like all over the field too. So maybe it expands. My desperation is much more desperate. If you had a tight end that got injured, Jake Ferguson and Njoku, then you already punted tight end, and now you're looking into the depths. It's Zach Ertz against the Giants.
Yep.
Ultimate desperation.
Yeah.
And I know someone who's starting him right now, actually.
Is it me?
No, it's Simon's got him in his tight end spot, Dynasty.
Yeah.
Rough.
That is rough. But you know,
good matchup.
Very good matchup.
And for the same reason, Jaden Daniels, he's gonna have to pass the ball. I wouldn't expect downfield to Terry. Yeah. And he might look to do the same thing Gardner's doing with Brock.
Yeah.
So let's go, Zach Ertz. Once again, we will review these picks next week.
Yeah.
We're looking at right now like a 50% hit rate.
Yeah.
Honestly, not hitting on a desperation play isn't that bad.
Yeah. I mean, they're desperate for a reason, right? A couple darts may hit, so
missing on a stud, that one hurts.
Yeah. That Joey B pick and Olave. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you. But we'll see. We'll review next week, and these guys better have better weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe this video, and also hit us up with some comments.
Yeah.
You know, how dumb were we to have Will Levis as a desperation quarterback? I don't think that dumb, honestly.
Yeah, that was you, not me. Make that very clear.
I'm going to start him again. All right. See everybody. We'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.